First of all, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me here tonight. Um, I, I just hope that I can share my story and that I can answer any questions that you guys may have. So first, I'm just going to start off by saying why I chose MSIH. So it was an opportunity to study medicine abroad and get a global health aspect. For anyone who doesn't know, the fourth year is spent partially in North America and partially in a third world country. So I really thought that was a great aspect. And after that, today I've loved the program. I just finished up my second year, as was said. And I just wanted to sort of touch on my last essentially 100 hours of being in Israel before leaving on a flight out to New York City, where I then spent 10 days and then came back to Toronto only today. So a lot of this, the administration was actually very great. They sent tons of help through 5 different languages if people wanted, psychiatrists on standby, social workers on standby. It was actually a really great experience from the administrative point of view. What came into light, for me at least, was how myself and my classmates came together in order to deal with it, the situation that we all were facing at the time. So with that said, I'll essentially just give a summary of my article and tell sort of the inside scoop of what was happening. So in my, it all started on Tuesday night. On Tuesday, we were getting word that there were starting to be more rocket attacks. We all have the Red Alert app, and the Red Alert app siren tells us when sirens are coming in. And it usually starts off in Ashkelon and Ashdod, and then slowly progresses. In an earlier year, we had all experienced 3 days of sort of not knowing what was going to happen. We had never experienced a rocket attack during those 3 days, but school was canceled and everything was online for those 3 days. This is before COVID-19, and so online wasn't exactly well established yet. Anyways, we had one siren during that entire time in which we experienced and had to go to a bomb shelter. So we all sort of expected it to be very similar to that. We also expected this to just brush over. And we slowly learned that it wasn't going to happen. On Tuesday evening, we experienced our first time in the shelter. And I live with 2 roommates, one from Ottawa and one from Virginia. And so the one from Ottawa lives in the bomb shelter. So in an early morning, we were forced to go into the bomb shelter, and we heard about 40 pops or rocket explosions above our head, with the Iron Dome defending. And from that point, we had only ever heard 3 or 4 from the previous incident. So when we heard 40, we realized it was going to be a long next few days. And from that point, we heard riots in the streets. My classmates were warning us not to go outside. There were pepper spray attacks on campus. There were videos of people getting on the sides of the entrance to BGU who were lying against the hospital wall, who were literally bleeding from stabbings. They were acts endangering anyone who was outside. And so no one, not even like my friends, no one was leaving their house unless you're with someone and not going far at all. Lots of anxiety to do at the time. We had a final examination coming up. We had a really scary situation. And also, this was our last exam of second year, and a lot of us are trying to get flights home in order to, one, get home to our families who we haven't seen in 7 months, but also to study for an exam this summer, which is a medical licensing exam, which we can't really push off any further. And so there's lots of anxiety building up. The administration kept checking in with us. And the thing that really brought us all together was the fact that we sort of came together and realized this is a situation that we really had to join forces on and come up with a plan of how to get to the airport the maximum amount of people we could safely. A lot of flights were getting canceled. The only one that was really flying was El Al Airlines. So from that point, my flight was, the flight line that I was taking on a previous flight line was canceled already. So I knew that I had to change flights as well. Anyways, the next few days, several rocket attacks, often in the early morning, 2, 3 a.m., followed by 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., followed by 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., followed by 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. It was a consistent thing. There wasn't really much break. Very little sleep was had. You just were sort of getting ready to go up the next time and getting ready for the next siren. We ended up writing our exam. The first years had their exam scheduled 2 hours after us, and they were canceled. because of the situation, which was a good thing because 4 sirens went off during that time. As a group, we were supposed to leave for Ben-Gurion Airport around 8 p.m. for a flight at 12 a.m. for Al Airlines. And it was Shabbat and it was Saturday night. That was right after Shabbat. 8 p.m. was in Shabbat went out. We were going to leave at 8:01 just as soon as we could. And there were 6 of us in the car. 5 of us do not keep the Sabbath. 1 of us did. And so it was Saturday, and we were realizing that all of the previous nights, the flights were getting canceled. Oh, sorry, not flights. There were riots in the streets. The highway we needed to get to the airport was getting shut down. There were rockets that were hitting the highway, especially at night. And it wasn't a safe situation on a daily basis at night, especially going down that route. So my friend and I were really close friends with the person who keeps Shabbat. We showed up to her door and we asked her, look, like, this is a really scary situation and we can't put the group at risk at this point. And we really want you to join us, but we fully understand. And we had a long conversation with her. We're really good friends of 2 years, and she still refused not to join us. And so she said that you guys should go. My roommate's going to drive me and I'll see you there. And we updated her on everything that had been going on. She made a decision, her own decision based on the circumstances. And so we left. We left at 3 p.m. that day. We'd gone over at 2 p.m. At 3 p.m. we were gone. And we started going, and no one really said anything for the first 10 minutes. It was, all of us were scared out of our minds. We all knew that this highway had been hit before. The previous day, right outside Beersheba, there were pictures and videos of someone who was being helped by an ambulance right where we were driving. It was a really scary situation. And it was like every time someone moved, every time the wind blew against the glass that was slightly open, we all flinched and we were like, where are we going to go? How do we even, what's the safest route? Do we leave the car? Do we not leave the car? If we leave the car, how far can we run? How much time do we have till the next siren? What's the time frame? Is it 20 seconds based on where we are? Is it a minute? How long do we actually have? And it's different based on where you live in Israel. So we were just sort of traveling up the coast and hoping that we could react as fast as we could. Is it safe to react as well? Is the cars on the road with us? And so we just sort of talked. We did everything we could not to talk about what we were doing. We talked about school. We talked about the exam. We talked about what we were planning to do for the summer once we were done this medical exam. Everything that we could not to talk about the situation. And we even saw a car steer off really suddenly, and all of us flinched. And our friend who was driving pulled to the side and was like, all right, like, everyone breathe, let's keep going. And we kept going, and it took us about an hour 15 until we got there. Got to the airport, thought we were safe, and we were like, the Iron Dome protects us, this is great, this is a great situation to be in. And about 2 hours of waiting, we get a report on our phone that the rockets had actually hit the highway, the same highway we had just taken. And so it was a good call that we had left. And it was a great decision that we made. We told our friend who she ended up taking a different route. And she met us at the airport. There was nothing that really happened. And so everything we had done from that point was as a group. We all decided to do it as a group, always making sure someone was with one another, no matter what was going on. We made it to the airport and we went through customs. We talked one last time before going our separate ways. We had a friend on flight to Miami, a friend to New York who was 45 minutes before us, and then us. And 4 of us on the one flight. And we get on the flight, we're taking our seats, our 2 friends are on the tarmac, and they start saying, everyone off the plane, everyone off the plane. And we hadn't even heard sirens yet. We hadn't heard anything. We just thought maybe something was going on, like someone had lost something, I don't know. And then as soon as you left the aircraft, the sirens started wailing. And you could hear that, like, this was the rocket attack happening right now. And there were 2 planes on the tarmac at the time. My friends could actually see the Iron Dome popping. We had ran as fast as we could inside a shelter, and we could hear the popping like it was like right outside our ears. Like it was louder than in a bomb shelter that we had lived in before, in the shelter that we had in our apartment. It was very loud. 5, 6 of them easily. And my friend, we all checked in on a safety check group that we had made of 6 of us. All of us were safe for the time being, and they told us they could see the rockets being like intercepted outside. It was a really crazy experience that I hope never to live again. And I wouldn't wish it upon anyone to have to be in that situation again. And luckily we boarded the plane, and we didn't really feel safe from that point on until a plane hit the tarmac in New York. There was no, like, it was great to be out of Israeli airspace, but we still had a 12-hour journey ahead. And there was, even to this day, we still check in with each other, because it's almost like acute stress where someone speeds up a car engine of a motorcycle, and just like the siren in Israel, when it starts off, it goes really low to really high sound, and all of us are flinching still. And we thought it was just us, and we checked in, is anyone else doing this? It's all of us. And so it's been a really life-changing experience, and I really got close with my peers for it, but it also taught me a lot about myself and life lessons that I learned about myself in this time. And so for that, I'm grateful for having made it through unscathed, and I'm very thankful to my peers for being there with me the entire way. So that was my experience, and it was really life-changing one, but I'm glad I could make it through it.